Hi guys, Paul Reese here, DPRS Unlimited. Thanks again for joining me here. Today, again, we're going to be going over everything you need to know to land that next client in the next 30 days without spending a dime of marketing money. Okay, so I'm going to do this live, so bear with me if I am taking drinks of water and such. I'm going to try and push through. But, I remember not too long ago, well, I guess it was quite a bit ago now, getting a little bit older. But years ago, I remember cleaning out my garage. I've always been into personal development. And I was just really down in the dumps, man. I was working fast food job, working at Sonic. I was making about $8 an hour. I had bills to pay. It was me and my wife. My wife was making about the same. Together we weren't bringing home very much money. I mean, to kind of give you an idea of how broke I actually was, what we would need to do is we would need to take the full check of my wife's and the full check of mine. And then at that time, she was just my girlfriend, but her full check, my full check. And then for those 2 weeks, we put those together. And then the next 2 weeks, because we got paid every 2 weeks, we'd take her full check, my full check, we'd put that together, and that would cover our rent. Okay, and then what we'd have to do is we worked at Sonic, so we'd have to hustle a little bit, get some tips to pay for our electricity and our water. And oftentimes the food is kind of what got left to the wayside and we didn't have. And to be quite honest, sometimes even the electricity went to the wayside and we didn't have that either. That was a bummer when we didn't have heat. We actually went for 2 years without heat one time. I mean, that really sucked. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. I remember coming home and it being colder inside during the winter than it was outside. And it was horrible. I mean, we basically had to sit in the bedroom under blankets the entire time we were home because that's the only way we could stay warm. Thank God we had animals to cuddle with, And we went without water a few times. Going without water really, really sucked. I definitely wouldn't recommend that. That's a bill we learned to not let go again. But what usually would happen is food would go by the wayside and we'd end up being able to cover the rest of our bills. And if it wasn't for my gracious manager over there at Sonic, I probably wouldn't have eaten. And I remember going through the parking lot and just scouring parking lots for change in order to be able to afford ramen noodles so we could have something to eat for dinner tonight. And just as a man, as a person, it made me feel like shit to not be able to provide for my family, not be able to do what I needed to do to be able to support myself, support my wife, and give us the life that I know that we deserved and that she signed up for. So I was cleaning out my garage one day and I was just thinking all this through my head, going over the last little while again of not having anything to eat, going without electricity, going without water, going out the heat. And I was just really down in the dumps. And I found this book. It was a book that my father had given me a really, really long time ago. It was Anthony Robbins' Awaken the Giant Within. So look at my body language. I'm going to pick myself up here. The story's bringing me down. But I found this book. It was Anthony Robbins' Awaken the Giant Within. And something just compelled me to actually go after it. My little doggy's joining me here. But something just compelled me to really just go after it and to actually read it. So I don't know what it was. I was cleaning up my garage. Like I said, I was down in the dumps and I pulled out this book that my dad gave me years ago. I had the chance to read it. I never did before. And so I just keep staring at this book as I'm cleaning the garage. I'm staring at this book and then, I kind of scratch my head and I think to myself, all right, I'm going to take a look at it. So I go and I take a look at this book and I start reading it and the stuff it says, it makes sense. And so I start doing the actions that it says to take in the book and I start going hard. And it changed my life. It changed my perspective on the world. I used to be an angry person. And, right there it took off. So from there on, I started to try and devour as many books as I possibly could. I started to share my information with as many people who would listen, not because I wanted to teach them something, because it changed my life and I wanted to share that with them as well, because I knew if they did it, it would change their life as well. And so what ended up happening is I ended up reading hundreds of books, going to, dozens of seminars. I hired coaches. Coaches inspired me to really build a community. I built a community, and we still all meet to this day. One of them owns a successful plumbing company. Another one owns multiple businesses. One of them owns a little car dealership here in Colorado. Another one of them, they own a nail salon out here in Colorado. Beauty studio. And so we all still get together, we all still meet, and it's really just an inspiration, and that community really just, it inspired me, it pushed me to that next level. But I remember starting out, it wasn't that easy, and getting customers, it wasn't that easy at all, and especially not having any money, being in that broke situation that I was in when I first started my first business. I didn't know how to find customers. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know that you had to spend a ton of money on marketing, at least you did back in the day, in order to acquire clients. And so I had to find things out the hard way. I had to learn how to acquire clients the hard way. And as I developed more and more businesses, as I did more and more things, it became easier. And especially with the advent of social media and things like that, we were able to build your own following. I mean, by the time I started my coaching business, within the first couple weeks, I made thousands of dollars in my coaching business, because I understood certain principles. And I'm not saying this to brag. I'm just saying this because you need to understand that it's possible. And today, especially in today's day and age with social media, how it is, it makes it so much easier than it was, 10, 15 years ago when I got started. So, hold on, let's take a drink of water. So that's something that you need to get excited about, is knowing that in today's day and age, you really can go out there and get clients for your business within a very short time span. I've had clients, I digress. Anyways, you get enough of that. So let's get to the training. Let's get to the stuff that you came here to for, let's get to the nitty gritty, okay? So again, we're going to be going over a lot of information, so I want you to make sure you have a pen and pencil available, or, pen and paper available. Make sure you're taking notes. Make sure that if you have any questions, I'll get to that in a little while, but I'll try and cover most everything here, so you shouldn't have too many questions by the time we're done. And if you do have any questions, Google and YouTube are a fantastic resource. All right, so very first thing that I see people fumbling on when it comes to business is they don't have any way to actually sell their service. Okay, so first off, if your service is priced $1,000 or more, then you should really have a sales script, and you should be converting people by getting their contact information and actually getting them on the phone. Because most people, if they're going to drop $1,000 or more, unless you're an extremely well-known personality, they're going to have a lot of questions for you, and you better be there to answer them. If you're not, then they're not going to drop that kind of money. Anything under $1,000, a website is fine. If you don't have a website, a funnel is really what I mean when I say website. Now, if you don't have a funnel, what I highly recommend, check out ClickFunnels. ClickFunnels is fantastic. If you want, a 14-day free trial, go check them out. They offer it. I could get paid to give you a link, but that's not what I'm here for today. So, anyways, go check out ClickFunnels if you need a website or a funnel and you don't have one. But other than that, again, website's okay for your service that's under $1,000. Anything over $1,000, you're going to want a sales script. So the very first thing that I recommend is setting up that sales script. A lot of people when I get on the phone with them and they're trying to sell me their service or they're trying to sell me their product, I can tell immediately the ones that have a sales script and the ones that don't. Because the ones that have a sales script, what happens is they take control of that call. They control it the whole way through. It got a nice flow. They get out of me exactly what they need to get out of me, and I get out of them exactly what I need to get out of them, and we can get to the nitty gritty. We can discuss price, and we can get to that point. Now, when you're setting up your sales script, there's a lot of important pieces. But the first thing, okay, so we're going to break down the sales script into several sections. The first section of your sales script should be to just simply build rapport with the client, okay? So when you are the potential client at this point. So when you jump on the phone, don't just jump right into it. That's another mistake that I see people make, is they jump right into the sale and they want to tell you everything about their product. Okay, first thing when it comes to selling your product that you're going to want to understand is that people don't buy your service when they understand you. They buy your service when they feel understood. Okay, so what you're going to want to do is very, very simple, is build rapport with them. Hi, how's it going? How's everything doing today? What kind of stuff are you into? What do you do out there for fun? It's okay to shoot the shit for a little while on a sales call, okay? You don't need to be hungry, aggressive the entire time. It's okay to build rapport, especially if you're in a service-based business, because that's what you're about. You want to show them that your customer service isn't just about what they're focused on. You're going to put a personal attention to detail on it. If they wanted somebody who's just going to be down to business, they can go to a lot bigger company, I'm sure. But your main advantage of being small is that you can put that attention to detail. So the very first part of your script is very, very simple. Just simply build rapport. Okay? The next part is going to be your pre-framing and qualification part of your script. One more second, I apologize. All right. So in your pre-framing and your qualification part of your script, this is where you want to find out if your prospect is actually qualified to purchase your service. If A, you want to work with them, and B, they're going to want to work with you. So this is where you're going to want to ask qualifying questions. For example, in my coaching calls, I see, what their vision is, where they want to go, what the big picture is. I ask them, where do you want to, if we had, an absolute perfect year, everything went great for you, I want you to vision yourself 1 year from the future, me and you were sitting in a cafe, and you tell me exactly what it is that made that year perfect for you. Let's trace it back. We're talking about the best year you've ever had. What made that year great for you? And I get an overall great picture of what their vision is, where they want to go, what they want to do, and whether or not my coaching will be right for them. Now, right there after that vision, if they're not somebody that I want to work with, or they're not somebody that I feel that they can work with, and at any point in this script, again, if they're not somebody that you want to work with, or it's not somebody that you feel that you can genuinely and actually help, get them off the call. Okay, let them know, be honest with them, be like, after talking with you, I realized that, my program's not for you, or, we're just not a good fit for each other right now. Maybe you should look somewhere else, etc. Even give them some resources if you have some resources of a direction that they may want to take it. But other than that, you want to ask them pre-qualifying questions. If you're in social media marketing, for example, you want to ask them, what does their ad spend want to look like? What kind of stuff they want to, what kind of ads they want to run, what kind of things they've done in the past, what their overall goal is. If you don't find out everything that your customer wants out of you, then you can't ever tailor your service to them. And that's your main advantage of being somebody small, is that you can tailor your service to that client that way that they want it to be. Okay, you can provide a lot more value than somebody a lot bigger than you, because you can tailor make things. All right. So the next part of the sales script that you want to get into after you've qualified them, that everything's going to, or that they're a good fit for you, you're a good fit for them, is you want to actually start getting into the sales pitch. Okay, so I got a lot of notes here, so apologize if I'm looking up. I just want to make sure that I'm not missing anything. So in the sales pitch, one of the first things that you want to do is you want to establish credibility. Okay, so what I start with is sharing case studies. I transition into this very, very simply. I say, do you mind if I share, I think you're a good fit. I think we're going to work well together. And then I transition into You mind if I share a few people who've been through my program that were similar to you? I think that you can probably get a lot out of their stories. You mind if I share their stories with you? And then I'll go ahead and I'll share their relevant case stories. Okay, so for example, in my business, there's a guy named McGee. You're going to meet him if you happen to join the mastermind that I'm going to be talking about later. But McGee, fantastic guy, built like an absolute tank. And I met him in actually in another group that we were attending together. And I saw him there, and he was just a hungry, young-looking kid, and I overheard him talking about his business and how he's wanting to be a personal trainer, and he just wants to share everything that fitness has really brought to him throughout the years. And I was like, oh, wow, man, that's fantastic. So I got to talking to him for a little while, and dude just had a fantastic story. How, he's basically self-made, putting himself through college. He's working 3 jobs. Guy works like a dog while he's going to school full time, and he just wants to have a passion. He wants to have a dream, and he wants to be able to just escape and not have to work so damn hard to get everything that his peers around him get to have for so much less work. And so he wanted to do something that he loved. He wanted to start a personal training business, but he just didn't know how. He couldn't find any clients. So I got with him, I talked to him, I showed him how to set up his social media, showed him how to set up a sales script and everything. And within 2 weeks of talking to this guy, it was within 1 week of talking to this guy, he actually landed his first client. Okay, so McGee called me, he was fucking stoked. I mean, he was out of his mind. He's like, dude, I've been trying to do this for years, and within a week of talking to you, I was able to land my first client. I cut out all the bullshit and just went straight to it. And I was like, dude, that's fantastic. Let's get you another one, man. And so he went out, and a couple of days later, bam, he landed another client. Bam, another one. And now, he's training a lot harder. He's still working hard to find clients, and he's still doing his thing, but he's being able to expand his business, and it changed his mindset and completely opened his mind that he was able to land clients within a week of meeting me, and all of a sudden he was able to show himself that it was possible. Okay, so, for example, that's one of the case studies that I show. And so you want to share relevant case studies, people who used your service and have benefited from it, how they benefited from it, how long it took them to benefit from it, what was the process that you took them through, etc. Okay? You want to keep it more story-oriented because that's what people are interested in. They're interested in the story. They're not interested in the dynamics of it. People don't care in the treasure map. They don't want to know what's on the treasure map. They want to know what the treasure is and how they're going to get to the treasure. Okay? So I want you to think of that analogy. Don't show them the map. You don't want to see, you got to turn left here, you got to turn right here, you got to go left here. And nobody cares about that. They just care what the treasure is and, what's going to get them there the fastest. So show them that. Okay, so after you've got them all primed, you've shared them relevant case studies with them, they're ready to go, then you want to recap. Okay, so you want to show them, let me back it up. So, where was I at here? I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything for you guys. Okay, yes. I don't want to, I almost jumped ahead of myself. Hey, pretty girl, we're almost done here. Okay. 1 second. Sorry about that, guys. Dog was really getting on me there. So, lost my train of thought. Anyways, what you're going to want to do, you've got them all primed, you shared your relevant case studies, then you want to ask them about the program. You want to offer the program to them. So whatever the service is that you're offering, you want to let them know about it. So I always make sure you ask permission. Okay, so now that I've shared a few of these case studies for you, I want to make sure that you're right for my program. And again, I ask them for a few qualifying questions here. I get them more primed, ready to go. Get them to qualify themselves for whatever it is that your service happens to be. Okay, let them know who your program's for, who your program's not for, and make sure one more time that they are a perfect client for you. Because again, one of the things, I guess I haven't mentioned this point, but bring it back a little bit. So one of the things that you want to make sure that you do in your business is you want to make sure that you are absolutely positively only working with people that you want to work with as well. it just makes life a lot easier. The people who complain the most are the ones who are going to want to pay you the least. Plain and simple. The ones who pay you the most are the ones who are going to complain the least. That's just the way it works. So make sure that you're working with only people that you want to work with. And so right before I tell them what my service is, I make sure I let them know, this is who my service is for. This is who my service isn't for. And do you fit that description? And if they say yes, okay, I say fantastic. Let me share with you a little bit more about what I'm offering. And then I'll go through, and that's when you offer your services. You let them know exactly what it is that you're doing. Okay? Now, the final part of your sales pitch is after you've offered them everything, you've showed them everything about your services, you've talked to them about everything that your services come with, you want to ask them, do you have any questions? This is big. Okay? This is going back to that. People don't buy when they understand you or your product or your service. They buy when they understand or when they feel understood. Okay, so you want to ask if they have any questions. If they have any questions, you want to clarify any questions that they have. And after you've answered any questions that they give you, you want to ask again, any other questions? And you want to keep asking this question. This is the magical question here. So keep asking this question. Do you have any other questions? Blah, 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 blah. Okay, do you have any other questions? Blah, 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 blah. Okay, do you have any other questions? And then you answer those questions. Okay, until they get to the magic question. All right, how much is it? Okay, you never, ever, 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 ever want to give out a price until a prospect is asked, how much? Because when they've asked how much, that means you've answered all of their questions. They're comfortable. They know the service. They want the service. And now the only factor is it going to give them enough value for what they're paying for it? Is it worth the money that you're asking? So they're going to ask you what the price is. So as soon as they ask you what the price is, you've probably went through a few questions for them. So next thing that you're going to want to do is you want to do a quick, just 30-second elevator pitch recap. Okay, this is what I'm offering. Hit the bullet points of what you're offering. Don't go through all the details. Just hit the bullet points. And then get to the outro. Tell them what the price is. And ask, that's when you get straight to the close. All right, I can accept, Visa, MasterCard, American Express, whatever it is that you use to accept payment. You never want to let them go out without accepting a payment. Now, immediately what's going to happen, unless you've expressed extreme value and they're just chomping at the bit and your offer is something just like ridiculous that they would have to be just insane to pass up, and you're just giving away way, 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 way more value than you should, they're more than likely not going to just jump out with the credit card. Now, if you're giving that much value and they're just jumping out with the credit card right now, I'll tell you right now, you're making a huge mistake and you're not charging enough for whatever it is that you're offering. If most people are jumping at it immediately like that, charge more. That's how you can get a good price point for whatever services that you're selling. And especially if you're giving, extreme value on the back end and people, are getting what they're paying for, it's okay to charge more. If anything, discounting your price to a lower level just because you want to make it more affordable to people, sometimes it actually hurts your credibility. All right, so that being said, get to the close, ask for the card. If they offer the card right away, fantastic. But again, most likely they won't. It's actually shown that a majority of people will say no to a service between 7 to 14 times prior to actually saying yes, pulling out that card and purchasing it. And so what happens is most sales people anyway, they give up after, 2 or 3 objections, and they don't get the 7 to 14 objections deep that it takes to actually land the sale. So perseverance is good here. Make sure that you're overcoming objections. That's the very important part, is they're going to objectify. Okay, they're going to say, maybe I gotta talk to my wife, or I don't have enough time right now, or that seems kind of expensive. But the fact of the matter is the better you get at overcoming objections and the better you get at dealing with those, the more you're going to get those sales. Okay. And all an objection is in reality, you'll hardly ever get somebody who says just flat, no, don't want it. No thanks. Not for me. Plain and simple, most oftentimes you're going to get an objection. And what an objection is basically saying is it's a question in disguise. It is hiding whatever fear they have that if they purchase your product, they're not going to get whatever benefits that you're saying that they're going to get. So your job when somebody objects is to overcome that fear that they're having, whatever it happens to be. Now, I'm going to give you something that took me absolute years to learn, and it completely changed my life when I learned it, and it probably quadrupled my sales overnight. And that is the objection dance. So anytime anybody objects to you, you're going to want to go through this simple formula. You want to write this down. Okay, so that's thank them for being honest with you. Agree with them because their objection is valid, whatever it happens to be. And then you want to overturn their objection. So just let me give you an example. We get to the end. I go ahead and try and sell you something, and you objectify, and you say, let me go ahead and ask my wife first, okay, or ask my husband first. And so I have to overturn that. So the underlying fear there is, A, I'm not going to get what I was promised, and B, if I spend this money without my husband or wife knowing, they're probably going to be pretty pissed off at me. Okay, so this is a real simple objection to overturn, and you have to be honest with them. But, and again, I'm completely honest. I'm willing to give them their money back if their spouse objects, but this is my objection to that. I say, thank you very much. Whatever, their name happens to be. Thank you very much. I really, really appreciate you being honest with me. And, I completely understand. I agree with you. If I spent that kind of money without my wife knowing, she'd probably be pretty pissed off at me and might throw a little bit of a fit. Here's the thing though. I don't want you to miss out on an opportunity just because you have a fear that, your husband or wife isn't going to be there to support you. And just because you have a fear that, you're not going to be able to make this happen. So what I want to do is I want to make sure that you get started, you get everything that you need, and you get everything that we talked about. And you're able to get started right away without delay. So how about this? I can take the payment right now. I can take the first payment. What we can do is we can get you all settled in. I can get you your startup kit, get your email sent out, set your first intake call so you're scheduled, you're ready to go. And if your husband, your wife objects in any way, let them know, I'm willing to jump on a call with them, let them talk to me, because when you talk to them, then you explain the benefits to them, you're going to sound excited. They're going to believe, it's whatever hoo-ha, you drank the Kool-Aid and, you believe it. You're believing whatever this person's shoving down your throat. And so let me talk to them so they can fully understand the benefits of everything that I am offering to you. And if they still objectify, they still don't want you to be in this program, they still don't want you to have this, then I'll give you a full 100% money back guarantee. That money will show back in your credit card, no questions asked, and simple as that. Okay? So again, I can take Visa, MasterCard, or American Express so we can get you started and we can set that up. Which would you prefer? Get right back to the close. Okay, so it's very simple objection. Again, their husband, wife may actually be pissed if they spend that kind of money. So you need to be willing to talk to that spouse so you can explain the services better than that husband or wife can. You need to be willing to refund the money. There's a few other objections to that, and but I could go on for days about how to overcome objections, but that's a very simple formula. Thank them, agree with them, overturn the objection. Okay, now we're done with the sales script. That was quite a lot of information. We're going to get to the next part, which is setting up your social media account, because what you want to do when you're selling anything, one of the main things that you want to do is you want to make sure that you're trying to overcome anybody's objections before they even have them. That's the whole purpose behind copyright. That's a huge trick behind sales. That took me years and years and years and years to learn. So I remember when I first started trying to do coaching, and the reason that I started even doing coaching is because I'd started so many businesses on my own, and my friends' family, they started me starting these businesses, and they started coming to me and asking me, what are you doing? What's going on? How are you? What? And so I started just teaching them simple things and helping them out, starting their businesses, running their companies, and getting their stuff going. And I had helped so many people, they just started telling me, why aren't you charging for this? And I was like, why ain't I charging for this? I can make this into a business of its own. And so I started turning it into a business. And so one of the very first objections that I started getting, because I don't use social media a lot. I don't have a lot of time for it. I don't spend a lot of time on there, but that's where I was going to get my clients, because that's what I heard was a great place to go to get your clients. And so one of the things that I heard very first off is, who the fuck are you, and why should I buy my stuff from you? And, I had a lot of testimonials. I had a lot of people behind me, but I just got this question a lot, and I got asked a lot of validating questions and had to prove myself time and time again, and it really got exhausting. I was spending more time proving myself than I was actually doing what I set out to do, which is serve people. And so one of the ways that I found around that, and to be able to not have to spend so much time validating myself, is to actually make myself look like the expert that I am online. And so I learned certain tricks and techniques to set up my social media profile to where when people started talking to me, because one of the first things that people do, I'll tell you right now, is they stalk you. When they first get to know you, people will stalk you. They'll look at your profile, they'll take a look, they'll dig in, they'll check out the about, they'll look at your pictures, they'll see what you're sharing, what you're doing. And if you don't look like an expert in what you're talking about, then nobody's going to believe you. Nobody's going to listen to you. Okay, so I got to work on stop saying okay so much. I apologize about that. Anyway, sorry. Where was I at? So you want to set up your social media to make yourself look and feel like the expert that you actually are. So one of the things that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to build a following. Nobody's going to listen to you if nobody else is around you, and so you're going to want to set up your social media profile appropriately. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to set up your bios. So there's a short bio, a small little bio. Anything I'm talking about that you don't understand or that you don't fully grasp when it comes to the social media, beautiful thing about social media, go out there, ask any millennial where any of this stuff is that I'm talking about, and they should be able to point you in the right direction because they know this stuff like the back of their hand. Okay, so you have a short bio and then a long bio in the About You section. You're going to want to set up both of those. Your short bio should just be a quick little punchline, what it is you do, how somebody can contact you. Your long bio, and for any of this stuff, you can go take a look at my personal Facebook page to see how I set this up. Your long bio should have a full description, should say your story, why you're doing what you're doing, and again, how to contact you. You want to follow the 3 main steps there when it comes of sales, and Russell Branson's somebody who's fantastic at this. So if you don't know anything about this, look up Russell Branson. He's got some fantastic stuff. But that's hook, story, close. Okay, you want to hook them. You want to tell them your story. You want to close them. Tell them how to get a hold of you. Oh man, I'm getting thirsty and I've ran out of water. So, suck down that little bit. I'm trying to power through this last little bit here. So, next thing that you want to do after you set up your bios is you want to set up your background image. Your background image should state clearly what it is that you do. It should showcase your business. Next thing is your profile picture. Your profile picture should be a professional profile picture for the business that you're in. So, for me, it's black and white, dressed pretty much like this. If you look at like McGee's, for example, McGee's got himself a power pose because he's a personal trainer and wants to show off his muscles because, that's why you're hiring him, because you want to build your muscles. So whatever it happens to be, you want to tailor this to your business specifically. After you set up all those things, you want to set up your page to look like an expert. So what you're going to want to do is you want to show off your expertise in your page. Okay, so you want to put things that your specific niche market is going to want to actually digest and read. So one of the things that I found is fantastic across pretty much all niches is quotes. Most people, most niches, they have somebody famous in that niche that you can take them, you can quote them, and you can put them on your page. People love those quotes. They'll eat them up, and that'll give you some quick interactions. This helps get Facebook's media algorithm to get people to come back and actually look at your page. Okay, the next thing that you want to set up is short little just advice columns. So if you can give short little punk patches, pieces of advice under a paragraph long, those are super fantastic. If people can take your advice, use it, and make something happen with it, fantastic. That's going to get you a better following. People are going to look at you and actually see you as an expert. Again, people are going to be digging through your page. If they find helpful advice that they can use, that's going to build your credibility as an expert. Next piece of social media content that you can use is long form content. So this is things that are, over a paragraph long that still teach people something. And these ones you want to probably have that hook story close method. So hook them with something, give them a story of why you're teaching this, how you learned it, and then the close should simply be the teaching method, what you're teaching them, how they can use it, how they can apply it. If you want, a lot of people use these long form techniques as sales techniques. So what you can do is you can throw a link at the bottom, you can tell them how to contact you. These are fantastic. Okay, last bit of advice, or last bit of content is your story posts. So story posts should be, again, that hook, story, close. You want to tell them this is specifically to get prospects to contact you. Okay, so the hook should get them in, should be something dynamic about where you were, what changed, what happened, what your service problem, how your service helped solve, where you are now, and then how they can get a hold of you for more information. Okay, simple. Now, how you should lay this content out is, simple things like quotes. You can put those, up to 2-3 times a day. The short form content you can post up to once a day. The long form content you can post up to once a week. I wouldn't recommend more than that. And the sales, same thing, more than once a week is getting a little too salesy. So you want to stick to about that format. Okay, so that's a quick, simple social media content marketing strategy for you. Now, to get people to your page, that's probably the simplest thing that you can do is join Facebook groups that have your target demographic. So you should have your target demographic laid out, who your ideal customer is, and go join groups that target demographic would likely be a part of. Okay, what you want to do is you want to interact in these groups the best you possibly can, give advice, talk to people, ask questions, give good content. If you're about creating content and these groups are about letting you share your content, share good content. Don't try to sell in these groups because it'll really just realistically hurt your image. There's a lot of groups where you can just go out there, simply post our ad, test the waters, see how it's doing. Those groups are fantastic and fine to post your ad in. But if your group's about content, which most of the groups that you're joining should be about, because those spam groups, they're just that. You can throw it up there, you might get a hit or two, but it's simply just mostly spam. There's not much interaction there. Good quality groups where you're going to find good quality prospects. Those are going to be places where you can actually give out information. You can actually help people out. You can give advice, you can interact, and the more you interact with people, the more people are going to get to know you. Again, they're going to do the same thing. They're going to start stalking your bio. As they start stalking your bio, you'll get a ton more friend requests. I get probably like 5-10 friend requests a day. Honest, 1 or 2 of them are spam bots, sex chat bots, whatever in the hell those things are. I don't even know what the deal is with that scam, how they make money with it, but that's another story. Anyways, so these people are going to be stalking your profile, so they're going to start sending you friend requests the more that you're out there helping. Now, if you want to amplify that friend requests and start talking to people, so you can shoot out friend requests, you can start talking to people, you can start helping people out, and just messaging people and getting to know people. Now, if you're messaging people, I want you to keep in mind the main purpose behind messaging people is building a relationship. If you don't think relationship first, if the number one goal on your mind is a sale, this technique won't work for you. But if your number one goal in your mind is relationship, building rapport with somebody, then this technique will work fantastic with you. If you see people who can use your help and you message with them, you talk with them, or they ask you to message them, you help them out a little bit, you can be honest and say, this is taking up a little bit too much of my time. This is kind of what I do for a living. If you want more information, we can do this, etc. Okay, now what I recommend is having some kind of offer that you can give out, some kind of, a free discovery call. It could be a free webinar like this one, whatever it happens to be, something that you can give them that's going to either get them on the phone or a reason that they can go to your sales page, a reason for them to interact with you. And so once you've built rapport with this person, you can send them to that area. Next thing that I noticed that a lot of people miss is anybody that shoots you a friend request, feel free to do the same thing. Build a relationship with them. Reach out to them. Say, what's going on? Why you're interacting with me? Just, hi, nice to meet you. Thanks for reaching out. How'd you find out about me? Get to know them a little bit. Once you've got to know them a little bit, again, built a little bit of rapport with them, then you're totally fine to shoot out a sales pitch. But the main thing here is build rapport. So you're going to Facebook groups, you're, sending out content, you're interacting with people, you're messaging with people, you're giving people good support and help and advice. And that rapport is going to build you enough credibility to where you can offer your services to people very, very easily. People are going to come to you to get their services. And so it's a very, very simple, easy way to build a following, get clients, get customers without having to spend a ton of money on marketing. Now, I've had a lot of fun sharing with you today. I hope you've had a lot of fun. Now, in this simple 40 minutes, we've just touched the tip of the iceberg. There's a lot of information here to share. And just like the tip of an iceberg, there's a lot more under the surface. And, I'd love to share more with you. I'd love for you to be a part of me. I'd love to, give one-on-one help to everybody. But I simply don't have enough hours in the day to do that. And I realize that most people can't afford my one-on-one coaching. So that's why I designed my mastermind group. So if you want me to hold your hand through this process, you want me to help you build everything that I talked about today, and you want to be part of a group that's on that same journey as you, building this stuff, so they can help answer your questions as well, hit the join link in the description below. There is a link right here. There should be some information. Well, I guess it's going to be over here or over here or over here, depending on where you're watching this at. But hit that join link. I'm only going to be letting 100 people in because I want to make this as impactful as possible. So I can't say how long this is going to be open for. I want to leave this webinar open to as many people as possible, so I may leave this open. So if you click on the link and it says that it's closed, I apologize. That means that spots have filled up. I will be opening it up again, but I'm never going to be opening it again at this, this price here, because the reason I'm opening it up for this price here is plain, honest, simple. This is the first mastermind class that I've ever put together. It's something that's new to me. So I'm going to be kind of learning along with you guys, and I want to make sure that I'm delivering enough value. So this is why I priced it so low. My price when I'm going forward is going to be probably somewhere around the ballpark of $1,000. Probably going to be offering it in the same format, but the price is going to be about 10 times higher. So if you're interested in joining, click the join link below. You're going to get a lot of stuff with this. I know a lot of you are going to jump right in. So those of you who jump right in, thank you very much. I appreciate you guys, early adapters. Actually, I'm doing this live, so I see a few people join the group already. So thank you to you guys who've already jumped in. I see you're in the Facebook group. So I'll get in there, I'll jump in, I'll throw some live videos in there so you have that. But I digress. For those of you who are kind of on the fence about this, you're wondering what all this is about. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold an 8-hour, just intensive masterclass where we're going to just dig down deep into this. We're going to actually go through this workshop, throughout this workshop, you're going to set everything up. So by the time you leave this workshop, your social media is going to be set up to look like an expert. You're going to have your content strategy all laid out. You're going to know exactly what you're going to put on your Facebook page. You're going to have some groups that you're a part of, that you can start throwing content out in, that you can start interacting with people in. You're going to have some message scripts set up. So You're going to know exactly, what you can say to people to get them to interact with you and talk back and forth, and how you can actually direct those messages to a close where you're actually offering whatever your value add is in order to get them on the phone or get them to your sales page. You're going to learn how to get all that taken care of. I'm going to walk you through setting up your sales scripts. So if you do have a product or service that's over $1,000, that you're going to get your sales script all set up so you can get these people on the phone. You can get everything ready to go for them. So when you do get people on the phone, you can actually close. We're going to go over objections. We're going to probably actually go over a few objections in class and see how we'd handle objections, so you can get a few live examples of objection handling right then and there. You're going to get this overall community. Again, it's going to be a small, tight-knit group. I'm only going to have it be 100 people. These 100 people, I want it to be a family. So we're going to get together. We're going to share our wins. We're going to share our losses. It's just going to be a real place where you can come to compartmentalize everything that you're learning and get real raw advice from people who are on the same journey as you and people who've been on that same journey as you. I'm going to have a few administrators in there as well. Those administrators are going to be my my past students who have been through my training. They've done what I've said to do. They've got themselves their clients. They're getting ready to move themselves to that next level. And they're going to be there they're really excited to just be there, help you out, hold your hand, and give back for all the information that they've gotten for themselves. One second, I got a lot of stuff here, so I can't remember everything that I'm offering. Oh yeah, I'm going to give you an exact copy of the sales script that I use personally. So you're going to be able to see. Sorry if I'm looking away, I'm pulling some stuff up here. But you're going to be able to see exactly what it is that I use to be able to close my clients on a daily basis. So my exact sales script. In addition to that, I got over a dozen tools that I'm going to be giving out from Anthony Robbins and Dean Graziosi. So if you haven't heard of either of those two fantastic people in the self-help industry, highly recommend them. They're actually my inspiration for setting up this mastermind. I'm in a mastermind with them, the Knowledge Business Blueprint, where they showed me everything I needed to know to set up and run my own mastermind. It's a super fantastic class. I love it. Anthony Robbins gives so much value. Dean Graziosi gives so much value. And they've given me over a dozen tools that I'm allowed to share with you as well. So you're going to be getting those tools from the masters themselves. So that's super fantastic thing that I'm just super excited to be able to give to you guys. In addition to that, you're going to be able to get just proximity to others that are influencers in the space. You're going to be able to talk to other people. I'm going to be bringing people into the group that can help share their advice with you. So if you have specific niches, I'm going to be bringing people in with specific niches, give specific niche advice. Depending on where you're at in the group, if you're social media marketing, or if you're in multi-level marketing, or if you're in affiliate marketing, I have a ton of experts. Or if you want to be a speaker, I have a few speakers that I talk to that I'm going to just be bringing these people into the group throughout the year, so that way you can really just learn from the masters in the industry and just get close proximity, ask them questions. I'm trying to provide as much value to this group as possible. And again, you're just going to get complete and utter hand-holding. Any questions that you have, I'm going to be in the group to be able to answer those questions for you. The other group members are going to be there to answer those questions for you, how they're handling those things. My past students are going to be there to answer your questions, hold your hand. Like, if you can't make it successful with this much hand-holding, I don't know if business is for you. So plain and simple, hit the join now button if you want to join the Influencers Club today. Be happy to have you aboard. Again, I'm only allowing 100 people in. You're going to see if you join the group, it's not going to max out at more than 100 people. I'm a person true to my word. Once I get to 100 people, we're going to do the class. We're going to take it out. We're going to take it for a test spin, do it, and see how it works. I'm going to critique it from there. And after that, I'm going to be offering the same offer, but $1,000 is what it's going to be. So if you don't get in right now, you're probably going to be kicking yourself, and there's nothing that I can really do about that. Again, it's pretty much me condensing my one-on-one coaching down, my $8,000 coaching down into a simple easy to digest mastermind where I can hold your hand, push you through, and answer any questions you have. Oh yeah, in addition to that, I'm going to be going live in the mastermind about 5 times a week to just give you extra advice, push you forward a little bit more, and be able to answer questions that the group has. So if I notice the group's if I notice the group's asking a shit ton of the same question, I'm going to make sure to use those videos to answer this question so you know exactly what it is that, these people are going through and how you can solve that problem preemptively if you're having it. All right, so we've went through a lot. I hope I've added a ton of value. You have enough in this video to be able to get your first client. If you don't want to join the mastermind, that's fantastic. Bully on you. I wish you luck. Jump out there, make it happen. Again, you have enough information here. Google and YouTube are a fantastic thing. Spend the time, spend the dedication, learn the little nuances, and go out there, get yourself some clients. Within 30 days, it's completely possible. The last thing that I would recommend is if you want to get a client within 30 days is offer your product or service to at least 100 people in the next 30 days. If you offer your service to 100 people, you get 100 people to actually talk to you, then I haven't seen anybody do that without one sale. If you do that, there's probably something wrong that you need to critique that's somewhere else. All right, so thank you again very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Again, go ahead and click the join now button if you want to be part of the mastermind club. The Influencer Club Mastermind. Love to have you. I'll see you there. You have a fantastic